Alright, hey guys, welcome to part 6 of my ActionScript 3 platformer tutorial. This time around we're going to talk about a lot about enemies and AI and their health bars and a little bit of other stuff too. First thing, I've noticed when we shoot an enemy, the bullet keeps going straight through the enemy even after we hit it. And really that's going to be bad if we have like a row of enemies all lined up and then just 2 shots can kill all of them. We don't want that to be the case. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that every time that an enemy gets hit by a bullet, the bullet actually goes away afterwards. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the enemy class and we're going to change it from returning a boolean to returning an int on the checkobj function. And in here where it says return true, we're going to make that -1 and we're going to make return false equal to -2. So here we go. We're going to say put brackets around this, and then afterwards return I. So basically now this is going to return, if it gets hit by a bullet, it's going to return the index in the array of the bullet that it gets hit by. If not, it's going to be either -1 if it's dead or -2 if nothing happens. So now we go back into our main class and we look in our enemies thing here. We're going to have to change this now because it's an int instead of a boolean. So we're going to say if this is equal to -1. Or wait. Yeah, -1. Okay. But really what we want to do is take this whole thing. We're going to be using this multiple times. We're going to store this as a variable. I'm going to call it results. So we're going to say if results is -1, do this, and then we're going to put an else if result is not -2, basically meaning if he does get hit by a bullet, we're going to remove cannot-remove child bullets, and then the index is the result. So that's all we have to put in there, bullets result, and then say bullets.splice result 1. So now we're going to run this and we hit the enemy and the bullet goes away. That was just a little thing that was bugging me. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little AI on our enemy. So in order for the enemy to exist in the same way that the player does, we're going to need to take these variables that the player has at the top, grav, floor, and on block, and we're going to put them in the enemy as well. So you can just copy and paste them right over. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add on the enemy 2 things. We're going to add a private variable called dir for direction, set it equal to 1, and then we're going to have another one called speed, and I'm just going to make this 3. Now in our checkobj function again, what we're going to do is before all these returns, and we're going to need to put this before the for loop even, we're going to have something called prevx. We need to make that a variable too. Prevx. We can just set it equal to 0 for now. And we're going to say prevx equals x. And then up at the top here, we're going to put x plus equals dir times speed. That's going to be what's actually going to move our enemy, and then this is going to store where the enemy was the frame before. And now underneath our movement, we're going to put an if statement. If prevx is equal to x, meaning that the character has not moved since the last frame, and if he hasn't moved, that's going to mean he's hitting a wall. So we're going to want to change our direction so we're not hitting a wall anymore, and we're going to go dir times equals -1. So that's going to flip the direction. So say this was 1 times 3, so we'd be going +3, +3, +3, +3, hit the wall, change that to -1, so it's -1 times 3 makes it -3 plus -3, so then we're going -3, -3, -3, -3. So that was just a little way so we can go back and forth and we won't just get stuck on a wall. And finally, we need to add that collision detection to our enemies. So we go up where our blocks check the character, and we're going to add a second for loop inside here. Call it S. S is less than... Sorry about that, guys. The phone rang. X is less than enemies.length. S++. And we're going to say blocks I dot check obj enemies S I. But really, that's not nearly as important on the enemy, but it will still help. Actually, no, I think we should put S there. So now our enemy goes back and forth, and when he hits the wall, he turns around. Now we can shoot him, kill him. So we're going to want to have something that's a little more interesting than just a 2-hit kill. So we're going to up his health. Or rather, we're going to decrease the amount of damage that our bullets do. Make it 13, so it's going to take 8 shots to kill him. And now we're going to add a health bar. So the way I'm going to do it here, you can do it one of two ways, really. You could have a little health bar over the enemy, or you could have a second health bar up by the player's health bar that can change and be all of the different enemies' health bars. So I'm going to do it that way. And then if anyone wants to know how to do it the other way, where there's just a little health bar over the enemy itself that just follows it around, you could go ahead and leave that in the comments, and I can make an alternate video that shows you how to do that as well. Alright. Looks like it's telling us we have an error here for duplicate variable definition. So I guess just to be safe, let's change this to J. This probably isn't going to be an issue for you. Alright. So the health bar, the second thing we're going to do, we're going to make another health bar. In here, we're going to give an option for what we want the color to be. So we're going to put in here color int. Make that color. So now when we make our new health bar up here in our main, we're going to give it OX. Oh, I forget what color it was. FF. Let's see. That's good enough. It's a different color, but actually, let's see what it was. It was 33FF. Okay. So we're going to want a different color health bar for our enemy. So we're going to say private var NHP health bar equals new health bar, and we're going to color this one orange. So we're going to say OXFF 6600. It's going to be like a nice dark orange, kind of like this color. And we're going to, in here with the rest of our placement things, we're going to say nhp.x equals, let's say, 300, and nhp.y equals 23, cam, not cam, add child, nhp. Alright, so we're going to want in here on our check stuff function something to help discern which is going to be which when we have our enemies. So what we're going to do, we're going to add another variable, and it's going to be, yeah, we can put it here. We'll say var enemy health. No, let's just go current int equals 0. Okay, so then down when we have our code for when our enemy gets hit, which we also use for our bullet, we're gonna, when we get hit by a bullet, that means that's gonna be the current target. So we're gonna say current equals and then J. So that means our current target is always going to be whichever one we hit last. And it's going to start out at 0, which is just going to be the first enemy. And right now we only have one enemy, so it's not really going to, we're not going to see any change in this until we have our second enemy up. So first thing we're going to do, now that we have this, we're going to go put in, we can put it here, nhp dot scale x equals enemies current dot health divided by 100. So now we have a second health bar. We hit our enemy, we can see our enemy's health bar going down. And then once it goes away, you can see we get an error because that enemy that was our target is now gone. So we want to put this in a statement that says if enemies.length is greater than 0, then else in hp.scale x equals 0. And one last thing on this, we want to make it so that when our enemy dies, our target doesn't stay on that, because we'll get that same error. So we'll say current equals 0. That'll only take a frame away, so it won't really make much of a difference at all, I don't think. So that's basically it for this tutorial. I'll talk about more next time. See you guys.